So, yeah, it is an overview of Sanskrit Vyakarana. So, I will give an introduction. It's how it is different from, or how Sanskrit is different from other languages, and how Sanskrit Vyakarana is unique compared to any other. And uh, what is the structure of Ashtadhyayi, outline of Ashtadhyayi that I will introduce in this session. So let us take an example. For example, so there is a word, there is an English word, sun. And so when we use a word like sun, so there is some object, so which is signified by this word. There is a word and it signifies some object. So if you see any languages, any popular language other than Sanskrit, except there can be exceptions, but there can even if you see any older language, there can be some exceptions. But in general, if you see, so this is a structure. So there will be a word and it signifies some object. For example, sun is a word, it signifies some object. So whenever the word sun is used, so it signifies this thing. So using that, we create sentences, or we think about that. This is what we do. So, but let us take an example from Sanskrit. So there are words like Surya, Aditya, Divakara, Ushnarashmi, Pushana. So these are different words we use for the same object. As here we are using sun for a particular object. In Sanskrit, there are different words which are used to the same object, to that object. But so what is the difference with compared when it's compared with English? So what is the difference between the word sun and these words? So what these words are doing? So they are not signifying some object, but they are explaining the property of that object. So if we see these 5 examples, when we use Surya, so it means that which moves. So we can see the movement of sun, though it doesn't move, but it appears as if it is moving. So there's a property. It means there is some. So when one observes sun, it seems as if it is moving. Therefore, we use the word Surya. And when we say Aditya, it is derived from the word Aditi, son of Aditi is Aditya. Or when we use the word Divakara, so Divakara, so one who causes a day is Divakara. Or Ushna Rashmi, so heat rays, one who possesses heat rays is Ushna Rashmi. Or Pushana, Pushnati to nourish. So one who nourishes is Pushana. So all these words are explaining some or other property of the object. So if we but if you compare with the word sun, the sun is just signifying the object. It is not defining or it's not explaining any property of the object. But Sanskrit words, unlike this word, all Sanskrit words in general, they explain the property of that object. So they are not signifying something, signifying some object. So there can be exceptions in Sanskrit, but in general, all Sanskrit words are like this. Therefore, since there can be many properties, one can, so different people can see different properties, or in different time, different property becomes important. So therefore, we can use different words. For example, see, so when we want to say sun rises in the east, So here, this sentence is about the movement of sun. Sun rises in the east. So when we are saying about the movement, we can use the word Surya, because Surya is connected with the movement. But when we say, Sage Agastya gave a mantra of sun god to Rama, it is called Aditya Hridaya. It is not Surya Hridaya. Why it is not Surya Hridaya? Because here we are referring to Devata. So when Devata, we are referring to some Devata, then Aditya becomes more appropriate term than the Surya. Or for example, when we want to say, I cannot walk on barefoot in the scorching sun of a hot day, you can say, you can use Ushna Rashmi. So I can't, so instead of saying scorching, see, if you see the English sentences, everywhere we have to use the same term, sun. We don't have any other word. But since Sanskrit words are explaining some property of the object in different condition, so we can use different words like Pushana. So for example, if you want to discuss about photosynthesis, then we can use the word Pushana, because it is the which nourishes, one who nourishes is Pushana. So like this, so in different context, we can use different Sanskrit terms because they are referring to or they are explaining some or other object. It is not possible in any, generally in any other, there can be few words like this, but the whole language is not structured like this. But the Sanskrit as a language is completely structured like this. Therefore, it is also difficult to translate Sanskrit words into any other language, because, for example, there are 4 or 5 terms, and there are many terms in Amarakosha. It's difficult to translate these words because in English there is one word, or we have to explain this word. What is Surya? What is Aditya? We have to give an explanation. So in a single word, we can't explain, because so all these words are explaining some or other property. Yeah, so just I'm comparing. So the sun, or you can take any word. So generally words are signifying some object, but Sanskrit words are explaining the property of that object. So the structure of Sanskrit language is completely different from any other language. So then what is the uniqueness of this language? How it is structured? If we think about this language, so I will take I will take an example. So this is a famous example, Ramaha Graham Gacchati, a simple sentence. Rama goes home. Ramaha Graham Gacchati. So this is a sentence. So we can split this sentence into words like Ramaha, Graham, Gacchati. So if we split, there are 3 words. Again, this can be divided as Rama, Ha, Graha, or like as we use Balakaha, Hastaha, like we can say Ramaha, and Graham. So Ramam, Balakam, Hastam, Graham. So is common in all these words, like Ramaha, Balakaha, Hastaha. Ha is common, Aha. Or Gacchati, if you say Gacchati, Pathati, Likhati, Karoti, Ti is something common. So we can divide a sentence into words, and even in words, there is something very common. There are something, some common letters like Ramaha, Balaka, Ha is common. Ramam, Balakam, is common. Gacchati, Ti is common. So what Panini did, he identified this common words and called them as pratyayas. So there are sentences, and we can't count how many sentences are there. And there are words, even words are uncountable. But those words can be divided into, so we can find out something which is similar in all those words, and we can separate that. And those are called pratyayas. Like in Ramaha, Aha is pratyaya, or Ha is pratyaya. Ramam, is pratyaya, likhati, ti is pratyaya, or likhataha, taha is pratyaya, likhamti, anti is pratyaya. So these are called pratyayas. So different pratyayas can be added. See, Rama, there's a word Rama. And by adding different pratyayas, we know how it is that word, or so whatever referred by that word is related with some action. For example, Ramaha, okay, is a subject of this action. So Ramam or Ramaya for Rama, Ramasya. So how it is connected with action or something, or for example, Ramasya, it is not connected with action. So whether it's connected with the action or not, if it is connected, how it is connected. This, all these we will get to know by adding these pratyayas. So Rama is something common. By adding different pratyayas, these relationships are known. So whatever remains after removing this pratyaya is called prakriti. For example, in the same example, if you ha Ramaha, there is Rama is common and ha is a pratyaya. And if you remove ha, then Rama remains. Ramam, is pratyaya. There is Rama. Ramaya. Again, there is Rama. Ramasya. So Rama. This Rama is called prakriti. So there are two parts in a pada, in a word. It is prakriti and pratyaya. So by adding pratyaya, we get different meanings, or how it is connected with kriya, or whether it's connected with kriya or not. All this we will know by adding these pratyayas. And to which these pratyayas are added, they are called prakritis. So prakriti and pratyaya. Any Sanskrit word is a combination of prakriti and pratyaya. So these are the two basic elements, prakriti and pratyaya. By adding prakriti and pratyaya, we will get pada. And the padas, so when there are many padas, they are connected with each other, that's called vakya. So same, we're giving, so Rama is a prakriti in Ramaha. In Ramam, again Rama, balakam, balaka, hastam, hasta, gachati, gacha, pathati, likhati. So there are, it can be a kriya pada or nama pada. There are two parts. One is prakriti and another is pratyaya. Yeah, I'm just showing some other examples. So phalam, if you take phalam, then phala, phala is prakriti, is pratyaya. Ramaha, Rama, ha, Rama is prakriti and ha is pratyaya. Sitaya, Sita is prakriti and ya is pratyaya. Balikabhyaha, Balika is prakriti, bhyaha is pratyaya. Balakanam, Balaka is prakriti and nam is pratyaya. Jalasya, Jala is prakriti and Sya is pratyaya. So you can take any word. So we'll find two parts, prakriti and pratyaya. And there are pratyayas which are added at different level. Therefore, prakritis can also be different. So all pratyayas are not added at same level. I will show an example. So lekhakaha, lekhakam, lekhakasya, there are three words. And again, lekhaha, lekham, lekhasya, there are again three words. So in lekhakaha, lekhakam, lekhakasya, there are some three pratyas, ha, sya. And lekhaha, lekham, lekhasya, again same pratyas are there, ha, and sya. So in this example, ha, and sya are pratyas and lekhaka is prakriti. In the second example, lekhaha, lekham, lekhasya, again ha, sya are pratyas and lekha is prakriti. Now we can divide this lekhaka and lekha into prakriti and pratyaya. That is, in lekhaka, again there is a prakriti, there is a pratyaya. Aka is a pratyaya, and lake is prakriti. In the second example, lekha, a is a pratyaya and lake is prakriti. So lake is something common, that is prakriti, and aka, these are pratyayas. And if you see different forms, for example, there is likhati and lekhakaha, lekhaha, lekhanam, likhitum. There are different forms. If you observe all these forms, you will find something common. In some examples, you will find a lake, and in some examples, you will find lik. For example, likhati, you will find lik. So if you observe many hundreds of examples, so this is a common thing you will find. Either there will be lik or there will be lake. So now the question will be, so what is the root sound? Whether lik is root or lake is root. Then, so whichever is smaller, laghu, that becomes root. See, in a lake, there is ekara, that is dirgha. But in lik, there is ikara is rasva, that is laghu. So, in the Vyakarana tradition, lik is considered as a root. So, there is a root sound. That is also called dhatu in Sanskrit. So dhatu is a foundational root, is a foundational prakriti, to which we add pratyayas at different level. So by adding aka or a, it becomes lekhaka or lekha. By adding ha, sya, it becomes lekhakaha, lekhakam, lekhakasya. So now there are many words, but all these words are derived from the root lik. Yeah, so dhatu is final prakriti. So lik is also prakriti, and lake is also a prakriti. See, there are now different prakritis. Lik is a prakriti, lake is also a prakriti, and lekhaka is also a prakriti. This is also a prakriti. Why this is prakriti? Because we are adding pratyayas. Therefore, this is called prakriti. To whichever we add a pratyaya, that is called prakriti. So we add pratyayas at different level. So therefore there are different prakritis are there. Lik is a final prakriti, a foundational one. So by adding aka, it becomes lekhaka, is also a prakriti. Like that, there are different prakritis. And there are different pratyayas also. The pratyayas which are added to dhatu, they are considered different type of pratyayas. The pratyayas which are added at first, second level, for example, lekhakaha, lekhakam, lekhakasya, we are adding, after adding a pratyaya to dhatu, in second level, we are adding another pratyaya. So these pratyayas are called again, is considered different pratyayas. So there are different types of pratyayas, and there are different type of prakritis. Yeah, so again, if you take the example, lik, lekhaka, lekha, lekha, lekhana. So by adding some pratyaya to lik, we get these different forms. So lekhaka, lekha, lekhana are combination of lik prakriti and different pratyayas. Again, by adding pratyayas to this, we get again different forms. Lekhakaha, lekhakam, lekhakasya, lekhaha, lekham, lekhasya, lekhanam, lekhanasya. So again, we are getting different form. So there is a foundational prakriti that is called dhatu, and to that dhatu, we are adding pratyayas at different level, so that we get different words in Sanskrit. So if you take any Sanskrit sentence, it can be reduced into a prakriti and a pratyaya. First, if there is a sentence, it can be divided into pada, and that pada can be divided into prakriti and pratyaya. Since there are many prakritis, there can be many prakritis.
and many pratyayas, so we can reduce prakriti pratyaya up to dhatu level. So until we get dhatu, we can reduce a sentence. I will show an example, the same example which we took in the beginning. Ramaha graham gacchati. It can be divided into pada. Ramaha graham gacchati. Then it can be divided into prakriti and pratyaya. Ramaha graham gacchati. Again, this Rama, Graha, and Gacha can be divided into Prakriti and Pratyaya. Then what remains? So Ram remains the smallest meaningful unit. Ram remains, Grah remains, Gam. So Ram, Grah, Gam. These are the three dhatus. By adding Pratyayas at different level, so we get three words, Ramaha, Graham, Gachati. And when they are connected with each other, we will get a sentence. This is how sentences are formed in Sanskrit. So, from one dhatu, we can create many words. For example, grah, graham, graha, grunhati, grahanam, and gam, gachati, gamanam, gantum, gatihi. So, all these words are derived from gam. And Ramaha, Ramate, Rama, Rama Manaha. So all these words are derived from Ram. So there are few dhatus and there are few pratyayas. This combination of few dhatus and pratyayas creates thousands of, or we can say lakhs of words in Sanskrit, millions of words in Sanskrit. Yeah. So how many dhatus are there like this? There are about 2000 dhatus. This is not exact. So there are actually there are less dhatus, but again there are Sautra dhatu and other dhatus are there. So about 2000 dhatus. From each dhatu, minimally we can create or derive 1 lakh words. I can show how it can be possible, but not in this session. So from one dhatu we can derive minimally 1 lakh word. So there are approximately 500 pratyayas in Sanskrit. So 2000 dhatus and about 500 pratyayas. By adding the combination of these dhatus and pratyayas can generate millions of words in Sanskrit. And by using those words, we can create some sentences. Okay, just another example. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Famous example from Upanishad. Again, we can divide this sentence into words. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Again, that can be divided into Prakriti and Pratyaya. Satya, Jnana, Ananta, and Brahma. So again, it can be reduced to a dhatu. So Satyam is from As dhatu, Jnanam from Jna, Ananta from Ant, and Brahma from Brah. So like this, any sentence can be reduced to a dhatu and pratyaya. Just I will show some examples. So for example, phalam, phala, ramaha, ramaha, sitaya, sitayai, which I showed in the beginning also, balikabhyaha, balakana, jalasya. So these are phalam, ramaha, these are words. We are dividing it into prakriti and pratyaya. Phala, ramaha, ha, ei are the pratyayas. Phala, rama, etc. prakritis. So these are the prakritis, phala, rama. Again, we can divide this prakriti into prakriti and pratyaya. Again, because we have to go up to a dhatu. So phala, ram, sita, balaka, and again balaka, jal. So then all this, again, this phala is from phala dhatu, ram from ram, si from si, bal, bala from bala dhatu.
and jala from jala dhatu. So these are the dhatus, and by adding pratyayas at different level, different words are formed. Okay. Even if you take the prakriti and pratyaya, they are also derived from some dhatus by adding pratyayas. So prakriti, pratyayaha. So he or pratyayaha is a, there is a prakriti is a prakriti, and pratyaya is also prakriti. And it is derived from prakriti is derived from kru dhatu, and pratyaya is derived from e. So kru and e are dhatus, and there are some prefixes and some pratyayas. By adding prefixes and pratyayas, we get these words. So there are sentences in Sanskrit and uncountable, and there are padas, words, uncountable words are there. But all these sentence vakyas and padas, so vakyas can be divided into words, and words can be divided into prakriti and pratyaya. Then ultimate prakriti is called dhatu. And these are countable. There are about 2000 prakritis and about 500 pratyayas. And by these countable prakritis and pratyayas, we can create uncountable words and vakya sentences in Sanskrit. Yeah. So I said, so there are prakritis and pratyayas. Now let us see the types of pratyayas that are there in Samskrita. So some pratyayas are added to a dhatu, and some pratyayas are added to a pratipadika, is written noun, because in dictionaries we will find the form which we find in dictionaries. Those are pratipadikas generally. So those I called as nouns. So in this example, there are some pratyayas which are added to lik. By adding some pratyayas to lik, we are getting these forms: lekhaka, lekha, and lekhana. So if you call these are nouns, so in Sanskrita these are called pratipadikas. So we are adding again some pratyayas to get some usable words. These are called padas. So we saw some pratyayas are added to a dhatu, and the pratyayas which are added to a dhatu, they are called, there are two types of pratyayas mainly which are added to a dhatu. One is krit, another is ting. By adding a krit pratyaya, we get pratipadikas, or the forms which we see in dictionary. They are called pratipadikas. So by adding a krit pratyaya, we get pratipadikas or dictionary entries. So by adding ting pratyaya, there is another type of pratyaya that is called Vyakarana pratyaya, which is added in between dhatu and ting. That is called Vyakarana pratyaya. So by adding ting pratyaya, we get tingantas, or verb endings like likhati, pathati, gacchati. Such verb endings we get by adding ting pratyaya. By adding krit pratyaya, we get like lekhanam, lekhaka, lekhana. So such pratipadikas we will get by adding krit pratyaya. So these are the mainly two types of pratyayas which are added to a dhatu. One is krit, another is ting. So by adding krit, we can create nouns, pronouns, etc. and avyayas also. By adding ting pratyayas, will get verb endings. Yeah. So again, the same example. So if you take the previous example, lik. So lik is a dhatu. By adding aka, so aka should be a krit pratyaya, because So it is a noun form. So to get noun form, we add krit pratyas to dhatu. So lekhaka is a noun form. To that again we will add different pratyas to show how it is related with the action. And lekhana, again there is a krit pratyaya which is added to a lik dhatu. But in likhati, likhataha, likhamti, likhami, and all these examples, there is verb form. So a ting pratyaya is added to get this verb form. So dhatu is same. Likha is the dhatu. And from same dhatu, from same root, we are getting both the nouns and verbs, verb forms. Okay, yeah. So supratyayas are added to differentiate between vachana, ekavachana. Oh, just a minute. Yes. So supratyayas are added to differentiate between vachana, ekavachana, dvivachana, bahuvachana, and case endings. It is how some word is connected, to show how it is connected with kriya. For example, likha is a dhatu. By adding a krit, it becomes lekhaka. Now, lekhaka, whoever writes, is lekhaka. To say whether there is one lekhaka or whether there are two, whether there are many. So we need another pratyaya to differentiate this. And even to say whether he is doing some action, lekhakaha likhati, is doing some action, or whether he is giving something, or whether he is taking something. So to say how he is connected with some action, we need these supratyayas. For example, lekhakaha. When we say lekhakaha, he is a karta, he does something. Lekhakaha likhati. Lekhaka writes. So is the karta of this action. So these supratyayas, they differentiate between ekavachana to differentiate singular, dual, and plural forms. These pratyayas are added. And even to show the cases, how it is connected with kriya, these supratyayas are added. There are few more examples, like brah is a dhatu. By adding krit, it becomes brahman. By adding sup, it becomes brahma. So now we can add a kriya pada. Brahma does something. So like ad is a dhatu. By adding a krit pratyaya, it becomes anna. By adding sup pratyaya, it becomes annam. Annam khadati. He eats anna. So to use with kriya pada or to formulate a sentence, so adding sup pratyaya is essential. Either we have to add a ting pratyaya or we have to add a sup pratyaya to formulate a sentence. So we can't use krit ending word directly. For example, Brahman cannot be used in sentence directly. So there should be a sup pratyaya, or so we have to create a tinganta form by adding ting pratyaya to dhatu. So we have to create a tinganta form. So either subanta ending with sup or ending with ting can only be in a sentence. There can only be two types of words in a sentence. So we saw three types of pratyayas. One is ting, so which we add to create verb endings like likhati, pathati, karoti. So likhati. And krit pratyayas, to convert a dhatu into a noun, these krit pratyayas are added. And sup pratyayas are added to differentiate vachana, ekavachana, dvivachana, bahuvachana, and to show how it is connected with some action, or whether it is connected or not, to show this connection with action. Sup pratyayas are required. These are the three types of pratyayas. Other than these three types of pratyayas, we have in Sanskrita, there are four more types of pratyayas are there.
There is one more type is sanadi. Though there are many sanadi. So all these terms, they refer to a group. When I say krit, krit refers to a group of pratyas. It's not referring to a single pratyaya. Krit is a term that refers to a group. There are more than 100 pratyas in this group called krit. And same with thing, there are many pratyas under this group. And sup is an umbrella term. Again, there are many pratyas when I say sup. Same with sanadi. There are many pratyas. When I use the word sanadi, san, etc., there are many pratyas. So when these sanadi pratyas are added to make further generations of dhatus, so to add new meanings to dhatus, these sanadi pratyas are added. For example, see jijnasuhu. I will show other example. For example, there are two examples, jijnasuhu and bubukshuhu. So there is a dhatu, that is jna. For example, in jnana, the same dhatu is there, jna. And the sanadi pratyaya, instead of krit, in this example, sanadi pratyaya is added to a dhatu. So by adding sanadi pratyaya to a dhatu, it adds, the sanadi pratyaya adds new meaning to this original dhatu. When I say just jna, it means to know. But when the sanadi is added to this jna dhatu, then it adds an extra meaning to this dhatu. That is the craving to know. That is jijnasa. So jna is the original dhatu. By adding sanadi, we are creating one more dhatu. It is a new dhatu. So by adding sanadi pratyas also, we get dhatus. As we added krit pratyas to dhatus, since sanadis are also dhatus, we can add krit pratyas. By adding krit pratyaya, it becomes, this is just an example, jijnasu. So u is a krit pratyaya. I am adding u to this jijnasa, then it becomes jijnasu. Now it is noun, krit. By adding jijnasuhu, we get a usable form. So jijnasuhu pathati. So jijnasu reads something. So in this example, so jna is the original dhatu. It comes in the 2000 dhatus. And jijnasa is a created dhatu. It's a new dhatu. By adding sanadi pratyaya, we created this new dhatu. That is jijnasa. And it's also adding a new meaning to this original dhatu. And to this created dhatu, a krit pratyaya is added. Then it becomes jijnasu. Then by adding supratyaya, we get a usable form, the jijnasuhu. Same with bubukshuhu. Bhuj is original dhatu. And by adding sanadi, it becomes bubuksha. It is a created dhatu. Now we added a sanadi and created a new dhatu. It's bubuksha. To this new dhatu, if we add krit pratyaya, it becomes bubukshu. And by adding supratyaya, it becomes bubukshuhu. So these sanadi pratyayas, though they are added to a dhatu like krit, by adding sanadi pratyaya, we get one more dhatu. One more is a new dhatu. It's also called dhatu, but it's a new dhatu. But we are getting that by adding pratyaya. But by adding krit pratyaya, we won't get dhatu. We get some noun form. But by adding sanadi pratyayas, we get a new dhatu. So there is a difference between krit and sanadi. So some more examples like jijnasuhu. So if you remove the pratyaya part, then jijnasu remains. If you remove sup pratyaya, jijnasu remains. And there is u is a krit. If you remove that, then jijnasa. Jijnasa is a created dhatu. It is the sanadi ending with sanadi pratyaya. And if you remove sa, it becomes jna. Jna is a original dhatu. So jna becomes jijnasa by adding sanadi, then by adding krit jijnasu, by adding sup jijnasuhu. Same with bubukshuhu. Bubukshu by adding krit bubukshu. U is a krit. If you remove krit, then bubuksha, it is sanadi ending. If you remove sa, then bhuj is the original dhatu. So pipasuhu. So pa, pipasa, pipasu, pipasuhu. Shushrushuhu. Shru, shushrusha, shushrushu, shushrushuhu. Chikitsuhu. Kru, chikirsha, chikirshu, chikirshuhu. And prepsuhu. Pra and ap is a dhatu. Pra is considered a prefix. And prepsa, prepsu, prepsuhu. So like this, we can add the sanadis. Especially in this example, I have taken one pratyaya. So it can be added to any dhatu to get a new meaning or some different meaning. And by adding sanadi, it becomes another dhatu. To that dhatu, again, we can add krit or we can add ting pratyaya also. In these examples, I have shown only krit pratyayas, but we can add ting pratyayas also to this created dhatu. For example, if you add ting pratyaya to jijnasa, it becomes jijnasate. So it is a verb form. So like this, we can add ting pratyayas to any these created dhatus. Mumukshuhu, mucha, mumuksha, mumukshu, mumukshuhu. So first we saw three types of pratyayas: krit, sup, and krit pratyayas, sup pratyayas, and four, ting pratyayas and Vyakarana pratyayas. Then I added another type, that is sanadi pratyayas. So then one more type of pratyaya, that is, there are two more remaining, stri pratyayas. So some pratyayas are added to get a feminine form. If you take the same example, if you start from lik is a dhatu. To a dhatu, a krit pratyaya can be added. Then we get lekhaka. So by adding a stri pratyaya, lekhika, so we will get a feminine form. Lekhakaha is a pullinga, masculine form. And lekhika is a feminine form. So to get a feminine form, one more pratyaya is added here. So by adding that pratyaya, we are getting feminine form. So these pratyayas, by adding which we get feminine form, they are called stri pratyayas. So lekhikam, in the is a supratyaya. So first we added the krit, then we get a feminine form, stri pratyaya is added. Then to end, we are adding supratyaya. So same with if you take ram dhatu, ram is a dhatu, by adding krit, it becomes rama, and rama by adding stri pratyaya, then by adding sup, ramam. So stri pratyayas are added before adding sup pratyayas. And stri pratyayas are not added directly to a dhatu. We have to add krit pratyaya, then only stri pratyayas can be added. Because by adding stri pratyayas, we will get feminine form. So we have to prepare noun to add a stri pratyaya. So it cannot be added directly to a dhatu. So last type is called tadhita pratyaya, the seventh type. And again, there is a umbrella term. So there are many pratyayas which are called tadhitas. So to get additional meaning to a noun, these tadhita pratyayas are added. For example, so guna is a dhatu. By adding a krit pratyaya, we get a word guna. And by adding tadhita, it becomes gunavat. And by adding sup pratyaya, we get gunavan. Actually, these tadhita pratyayas are not added directly to a krit. So there is one more step just I left in these examples. And again, if you take jnani, jna, by adding krit, it becomes jnana. And by adding tadhita, jnanin, by adding sup, jnani. So what is the new meaning? What is the additional meaning we are getting? Gunavan. When we say gunavan, who possesses guna, who has guna, is gunavan. Or when we say jnani, who has knowledge, who has. So this meaning we are getting by adding a tadhita pratyaya. So this is additional meaning, who has something. So this is additional pratyaya. So in the both the examples, I left one step. So just making it, instead of making it complicated, I just step in between krit and tadhita. So we saw 7 types of pratyayas. So sanadi pratyayas are added. So upadeshika, atadeshika, these words are used. Just you can leave that. So further generation of dhatus, sanadi pratyayas are added, and Vyakarana pratyayas are added in between dhatu and thing. So they bring this dhatu and sup pratyayas together. They are called Vyakarana pratyayas, and krit pratyayas to create nouns, pronouns. All these krit pratyayas are added, and thing pratyayas are added to get verb endings, and sup pratyayas to get noun endings, and sti pratyayas to get feminine forms, and rajya pratyayas to add additional meaning to a noun. So these pratyayas are added. So these are 7 types of pratyayas that are there in Sanskrit. So to a dhatu at different level, these pratyayas are added to get different forms. Yeah, so just I will raise some this. So just I created a sentence. Amaha Sitaya saha vanam gacchati vane nadim didrikshate. This is a sentence. So if you split these sentences into words, and again these words into prakriti and pratyaya, so now we can see how the pratyayas are added at different level to a dhatu. If you start with gacchati, this is a verb form. So gacchati, to create the word gacchati, there is a gam dhatu, then vikarana plus thing. So by adding vikarana and thing pratyaya, we get gacchati. So this is gam dhatu. And didrikshate. See, there are 2 levels. Drish is a dhatu. By adding sanadi, it becomes didriksha. This is another dhatu. And by adding vikarana plus thing, it becomes didrikshate. So there are actually 3 pratyayas are added. Vyakarana, sanadi, vikarana, and thing. By adding 3 pratyayas, we got didrikshate. But to get gacchati, there are only 2 pratyayas, vikarana and thing. And raghavaha. So raghava actually is from laghu. Laghu is a dhatu. La becomes ra. And by adding krit, it becomes raghu. By adding tadhita, it becomes raghava. By adding sup, it becomes raghavaha. So to this dhatu, we added 3 pratyayas. First krit, then tadhita, then sup, then we will get this raghavaha, son of Raghu. So to get son of, we have added tadhita pratyaya. So to get this additional meaning, son of, the tadhita pratyayas are added. To say Ramaha, so there is no additional meaning in the word Ramaha. So Ram, just by adding krit, we get Rama, then we are ending there. So Ramaha. So there is no additional meaning in this word. Therefore, tadhita pratyayas are not added. Sitaya. Again, Si is a dhatu. By adding krit, we get Sita. But here we need a feminine form, Sita. Therefore, Sti pratyaya is added. Then to end, at the end, Sup pratyaya is added, Sitaya. Again, Saha. Saha also has a dhatu. And by adding krit, it becomes Saha, and it's aviya. Therefore, it stops there, Saha. Though there is Sup pratyaya, it is not visible in this example. And Vanam. So Vanam is from Vana dhatu. By adding krit, it becomes Vana. And by adding Sup, it becomes Vanam. So we saw all these 7 types of pratyayas in this example. See, didrikshate gets sanadi, but all other forms, they are not getting sanadi pratyaya. But in most of the examples, there is krit pratyaya is there. But when we are creating these verb forms like gacchati and didrikshate, we have not added krit, because by adding krit, it becomes noun. So to create a verb form, we should not add a krit. So in these two examples, krit pratyas are not added. And in all other examples, you will see krit pratyaya. And here we need a feminine form, therefore stri pratyaya is added. And in the Raghava, we need an additional meaning to this noun Raghu, therefore the pratyaya is added. And to end the prakriya, to end this word formation, so we have to add sup pratyaya at the end. Either there should be sup or thing at the end. So in two examples, there is thing, so that to get verb form. And in all other examples, we have sup. By adding sup, we will get noun forms. Okay, so okay, Nadim is okay, it's left. So Nadim, there is a stri pratyaya in Nadim. Okay, so there are 7 pratyayas. I have listed how many pratyayas are there in that group. Actually, Sanadi is not one pratyaya. There are 12 pratyayas. Vyakarana again, there are 20, about 124, like that. About 480 pratyayas are there. So all sentences or all Sanskrit words are created or generated by adding these pratyayas to different prakritis. All these words are actually generated from dhatu. To a dhatu at different level, different pratyas are added. By adding these pratyas, the whole language is created. So there are about 480 pratyas and there are about 2000 dhatus. So now if we see Ashtadhyayi, there are 8 chapters. So the first level is sentence. As I saw in all these examples, sentence is the basic, generally because we see sentences. So not prakritis and pratyas. Prakritis and pratyas are grammatical. So only in grammar you will find prakriti and pratyaya. Otherwise, when you read, what you will read, you will see sentences. So how to form sentences, the rules related to forming sentences are discussed in first chapter. Actually, there are Ashtadhyayi. There are 8 chapters in the text written by Panini. So in the first chapter, how to form sentences, the rules related to sentences are there in first chapter. And the next level is pada, words. So there can be compound words or there can be separate words. So the rules related to compound words and separate words, that we will find. The forming compound words, the rules related to that, we will find in second chapter. And since to create a word, especially if you want to create a noun forms, then a pratyaya should be added to a dhatu, as we saw in all the examples. By adding pratyayas to a dhatu, you get noun forms. So therefore, dhatu related pratyayas, the pratyayas which are added to a dhatu, those that are discussed in third chapter, even ting pratyayas and krit pratyayas, whichever is added to a dhatu, it is discussed in third chapter of Ashtadhyayi. And by adding pratyaya, for example, by adding krit pratyaya, we get pratipadikas or dictionary forms, dictionary entries. They are called pratipadikas. We get pratipadikas. So to a pratipadika, supratyas are added. Balaka becomes balakam or balakaha. So this aha or are added to a balaka. How we will derive balaka? By adding pratyaya to krit, by adding krit pratyaya to dhatu. So the first level is adding pratyayas to dhatu. Therefore, that is discussed in third chapter after Ashtadhyayi. So then whatever the other pratyayas like sup pratyaya, stri pratyaya are added at next level. Therefore, they are discussed in fourth and fifth chapter of Ashtadhyayi. So in fourth and fifth, pratyayas which are added to pratipadika, they such as sup pratyayas, sadza pratyayas, stri pratyayas, all are discussed in fourth and fifth chapter of Ashtadhyayi. And then the procedure, how to add these pratyayas, what are the changes it makes. So that is discussed in 6th and 7th chapter of Ashtadhyayi. For example, lik becomes lek, lekhana. The dhatu is lik. By adding pratyaya, it becomes lek. So why lik becomes lek?
So when this change occurs, that is discussed in 6th and 7th chapter. Such changes are discussed in these two chapters. And at the last chapter, mainly about combining two letters. So what are the changes when two letters come together? Like, for example, Deva Alaya. Deva, it ends with A, and Alaya begins with A. So when they come together, it becomes Devalaya. So this is one example, but the rule related to this is not there in 8th chapter, but there are many other rules are there. Mainly the rules which are related to combining two letters are there in Ashtadhyayi, in 8th chapter of Ashtadhyayi. Yeah. So forming sentences is in 1st chapter, and forming samasa compounds that is in 2nd. And we discussed about 7 type of pratyayas in Ashtadhyayi, and the pratyayas which are added to a dhatu is the examples I showed of Sanadi. In that example, we added Sanadi pratyaya to a dhatu. So therefore, Sanadis are also in 3rd chapter. Vyakarana, Krit, Ting, all these pratyayas are discussed in 3rd chapter. So Stri, Tadhitas are discussed in 4th and 5th chapter of Ashtadhyayi. So this is the overall structure of Ashtadhyayi. Okay, so here I will end. So in the beginning, I showed how Sanskrit is different from any other language. So there are many words. So the words are not unlike any other word. For example, as I I showed in the beginning, sun. So sun is a word and it signifies something, so some object. But Sanskrit words are not like that. They are referring to some property that that object possesses. Therefore, there are many words because there can be many properties in an object. So to refer to those different properties, different words can be used. And if, for example, if someone identifies new property, for example, because now we can say sun doesn't move. So when we use the word Surya refers to movement. So but though generally though it looks like sun is moving, actually he doesn't move. So if you want to say sun doesn't move, then we can create a new word. So you can something say by using sthira or some other word. So there can be a new word to say sun is sthira. So like this, we can create new words also to show or to explain the properties that object has. So therefore, all words are of Sanskrit are based on this prakriti pratyaya. By adding prakritis and pratyayas, we can create new words, and so that we can create sentences. This is the overall structure of Ashtadhyayi. Okay. So here I will end. So if there are any questions, I think many of them, I think they know all these.
Namaste, Acharya.
Namaste.
Can you give an example of what you mean by rules for forming sentences from the 1st chapter?
For example, karakas.
Okay.
So because that is related to sentence level.
Sentence level. Okay, got it. Thanks.
So when we say samasa, that is how to add two words, some compound words, how to create compound words. It is there in 2nd, because the sentences which we see, generally there are sentences. So then if you split sentences, then we will get words. So that is next level. By splitting words, you will get prakriti and pratyaya. So dhatu is the 3rd level. But by adding pratyayas to dhatu only, we can create words. Therefore, those pratyayas are discussed in 3rd chapter. Then other pratyayas are discussed in the 4th and 5th chapter. So there is the structure.
Namaste, Tilak ji.
Namaste. Namaste.
Can you add some, or can you summarize what are the differences, the significant differences in the sutras that that apply to Vedic words, as far as these pratyas or the structure that you outlined, even the karakas, for example, like I have briefly read that you don't have that much distinction in 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 um, in the formation of vibhakti with respect to Veda as opposed to Laukika, right? So there appear to be some systematic differences between how this whole structure applies to Laukika Sanskritam versus Vedic Sanskritam as laid down by Panini himself. So can you comment a bit on that? What are the differences, and anything you wish to share in that regard?
Okay. Okay. So differences means in which level? Some echo.
Like, for example, like, you could use the same verb form or noun form for saying, let's say, Saptami versus Shashti versus Panchami. There are no differences in some cases in Veda, for example. Right? So what are these differences? What are the main differences between Vaidika Sanskritam and Laukika Sanskritam from a very macro perspective, as laid down by Panini himself?
Maybe in other words, what Haridas is asking is, how does Ashtadhyayi reflect the difference between Laukik and Vedic Sanskrit?
Yeah, you can put it that way.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't thought about that. I don't think. So. No, I have. Yeah. So I have general idea, but I not thought that.
Or any comments that you want to, any comments in this regard in Vedic versus Laukika from Ashtadhyayi perspective?
Means, yeah, in general, it seems very strict when it comes to Laukika. And it is not strict because general observation that I can. There is a echo, no? Why is it only for me or?
I think everyone else should put on mute.
Yes, yes.
Haridas, put yourself on mute.
See, the general observation is in Vedika Samskrita there is swara. So the swaras are there is a swara system, and which is not there in Laukika Samskrita. But in Laukika Samskrita, this prakriti, pratyaya, and what does it mean when some pratyayas are added? So this word formation is very strict in Laukika Samskrita. And when we go to Vedika Samskrita, this formation, this pratyaya should be added to get this particular meaning. So this connection between pratyaya and particular meaning, all this which we see in Laukika Samskrita, it is not very strict in Vedika. But there are other considerations, like there is swaras are there, which is not there in Vedika. So this is what I see in the general sense, but how to. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that swaras, you can see them more in Veda today, but the Panini rules themselves don't say that you cannot have swaras in Laukika Sanskritam, right? For example, with every pratyaya, you might have a swara laid down with them, right? So there's nothing preventing one from applying the swaras even to Laukika Sanskritam from a Paninian perspective. There is no nisheda in that regard, right?
Correct, but it is also not used.
It is not used in practice. It is not used.
Yeah, that is used in Vedika Samskrita. It is not followed in Laukika. Though some people tried to do that. In general, if you take any, even though it is in Ashtadhyayi Sutras also it is used, only one swara is used. Even Panini himself has not used it in his sutras. And in other texts, it is all, if you take any other, for example, Shikshas or any other texts which are related, which are considered as Vedangas, even in those texts, the swaras are not used. So only when it is, when they come to Vedika sentence, Vedic Veda Vakya, then only this you will find the swara vyavastha.
So he doesn't prohibit, but it is not used by Shastras.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
So, which are the parts of Ashtadhyayi which deal with Swara-based rules, or is it distributed everywhere?
There is one pada. So in 6th chapter, there is a it begins in So in 6th adhyaya, there are two padas are there on Swara Vyavastha, but it is also there in other padas. For example, Pratyaya Swara. Pratyaya Swara is mentioned in Tritiya Adhyaya itself because it is related to Pratyaya. Same with many Pratyas. But as we see Sandhi Prakarana, and if you want to say where is Swara Prakarana, if you want to ask where is Swara Prakarana, then you will find in 6th Adhyaya. First Adhyaya.
Okay.
Ji, namaste. Ganapati from Bangalore.
Okay, namaste.
We understand that every word has a dhatu, and the dhatu has a particular functional meaning. Right? So in that sense, we have the two words pada and padartha, right? So can we say that in Sanskritam, every pada has a functional association with that padartha or the object through a property of that object? Like you said, no? The dhatu, for example, if you take cow, that gachati, that gum dhatu, because the cow keeps grazing or going like that. So that sort of an association can we give for every single word in Sanskritam?
Yeah, most of the words. Therefore, beginning only I showed. So if we say sun, so it is just signifying some object in the word. But some words are not like that. So when you use Sanskrit words, they're explaining some property of that object. They are not signifying some object in the word. For example, when you use Surya, that which moves, that is Surya. Aditya, son of Aditi. Divakara, who causes Diva. Rashmi. So all Sanskrit words are like this only. Most of Sanskrit, you will find, say, in other languages, this is the signifying word means there is word and signifies some object. That is common.
Right.
But in Sanskrit, this is common. So they explain some property of that object. So therefore, there are many words. So for a single object, you will find many words in Sanskrit. And again, if you find some new property, you can create new word.
I see. Ji, has there been any study that maps these properties with either the Tarka Sangraha properties, the Sapta Padartha, let us say Guna, Karma, etc., to show that the other philosophical systems, especially the Vaisheshika or the Tarka Nyaya combination, has a direct correlation with the Vyakarana in terms of the Pada Padartha. Has there been any such effort? I mean, if I take, for example, quite a few dhatus and try to map them, will I get one or other Dravya Guna Karma Saman Vishesha type mapping of that root?
Okay. See, means you can connect with those padarthas, for example, when you say Surya. So it is about karma.
Achha.
So one of the padartha, that is karma. Same with, means like that we can connect.
Okay.
But Aditya, you can say it is Dravya because it's saying son of Aditi. So like that. So in that sense,
maybe Sambandha can come here.
Yeah. Sambandha is not there directly. No, Samavaya or Sanyoga. Yeah.
Right.
So that's how we have to think.
Basically, Vyakarana and the world concepts of world modeling. See, Vyakarana relates to the world. If you understand the world, you can understand Vyakarana better, like that, right?
Correct. Yeah. So because it is related to how we understand something. Because related to experience, how we experience some object, or what we know about that object. So Sanskrit words are most of Sanskrit words are like that. So it also shows what we know about that object.
Right.
If our understanding improves, then the new words will also be created to show improvement of our knowledge.
Correct.
Therefore, this is short in the beginning. So we don't use Sanskrit words randomly. Say, if you want to say sun rises in the east, the Surya becomes appropriate word. because that is related to movement.
Exactly.
We can't say Aditya,
Mhm.
but we say Aditya Hridaya, not Surya Hridaya,
Mhm.
because there we are referring to some Devata. So then
Right.
saying son of Aditi becomes appropriate.
Okay, okay.
We want to say photosynthesis, then Pushana is appropriate term, not Surya, because Pushana, which gives some energy, Pushan,
Yes.
Pushnati. Or if you want to say scorching sun, then Ushna Rashmi is appropriate word, not Aditya.
Okay.
So so we won't use these words randomly because
Correct.
they are explaining some property. So what we want to say, yeah. So that's also connected with which word we use.
Right. In a very Laukika sense, if we have to say, everything in Sanskrit is organic.
Yeah.
It has connections, it has life, like that. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. So this compared to other language, the Sanskrit is more related to experience and knowledge. So other languages are not like that. For example, if we, as I said, so if we want to say sun is stable, he is not moving, then we have to say a sentence. But we can create a new word to say that it is stable.
Right.
We can use that new word itself. So it means it's more related with our experience and knowledge. There is a difference between Sanskrit and other languages.
Toji, Dhanyawad.
So if no more questions, I think anybody else, any questions you have? I think Tilak.
Namaste, Mahodaya.
Ah,
I don't have any
namaste.
questions actually, but I wanted to know, you have written some book, no, on Vyakarana.
Yes. Yeah.
Where is it available? I want to.
Yeah, so that now Siddhanta Knowledge Foundation published it, Ashtadhyayi Pravesha. So the website, if you search Siddhanta Knowledge Foundation, and in the publication, the details are available. So
Can you please share the details?
where they share in the chat?
Yeah.
Just a minute. And, yeah. Yeah, yes. Can you see the screen also? Is it visible?
Yes.
No, okay. Which I will show the screen also. Yeah, see. This is a web page of Siddhanta Knowledge Foundation.
Siddhantaknowledge.org. Okay.
Yes. So I think they have given the link also. Some how to buy.
Acharya, you can post the link in the
Yeah,
chat.
I will do that. See. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Astu.
Any more questions? You can post it in MIT Shastra Jignasa group. If no more questions, I think we can end the session, Tilakji.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Thank you all for attending the webinar.
Yeah. So dhanyawada. Rama.
Dhanyawada, Mahodaya.
Astu.
Dhanyawada.
Dhanyawada, Varya.
Namaste.